Good morning. Welcome to the Urban Parliament today, Thursday, the 24th of January 2020. Look at the date, it's 24th already, meaning it's just about 3 weeks, one day until the February 16th presidential and National Assembly elections. So be ready if you've gotten your PVCs. I do not want to hear that a few days of the elections you're still crying about the PVCs not having gotten the PVCs. So please go and get your PVCs. Very important. That's your your you know your weapon of keeping fit of whatever it is that you're doing in terms of changing your leaders or maintaining status quo. It's very important. All right. It's 9 after 9 today, Thursday the 24th. Breaking news that we are following, especially as it concerns Ezekwesili dropping her ambition um, in the middle of a park. Some of the persons have attributed this to the fact that she has read in between the lines. Some others think that she couldn't have even won her award, so it's really nothing new. But in any case, we will talk more about that. But let's introduce our guest of today's edition of the Urban Parliament. But before then, Adobe, of course, has been here since morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Dr. Chidi Cadets Nwanyao is a governorship candidate for AAC, that's the African Action Congress. Good morning to you.
Thank you so much, Charles.
Right. Um, it's interesting, really. I mean, Nigeria's elections is just around the corner, and
Yeah.
you are actually a major stakeholder, being that you're a candidate.
Yeah.
But don't talk about your candidacy. Let's talk about this particular story as it relates to Obi Ezekwesili withdrawing her candidature for the presidential elections,
Yeah.
um, saying that she's going to form a coalition, is willing to form a coalition that would challenge the status quo of the All Progressives Congress and the PDP. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts will be based on a personal experience with we call her Auntie Obi because she's very close to presidential candidate Moelle Shore, and it, a lot of youths have been clamoring for what we're seeing now. When it was on the front burner, I actually reached out to her and we had a passionate talk. So I'm not surprised with what I'm seeing. There's a general belief out there among youth, among the young candidates, that there is the need for them to synergize. So this is just the beginning of what I believe is part of what we're going to be seeing just before the elections. More bigger news is on the way. It's a very welcome development. It is what every young Nigerian is expecting and looking up to, because the truth is the young people, the youths, the young at heart, the middle aged, they are tired of the government of the day. They know that there is need for a fresh blood in the political climate. But their problem has always been that the younger candidates, the alternatives that they are queuing behind, seem to be splitting the votes. So when you see this kind of breaking news that Madam Obi has stepped down, but has not just stepped aside, she's still in the race, but she's going to step aside to pave way for the much needed coalition. It is a welcome news, and I'll only tell you to anticipate more good news.
More good news in terms of having presidential candidates stepping down.
More good news in terms of having one candidate from the other alternatives who will stand to challenge the two major parties. That's what we've been looking for, and that's what we're praying will happen. Because as soon as it happens, it's game over.
What then do you? What exactly are you envisaging? Because it seems that you already have information about the fact that
I,
there's one that will emerge at the end of the day.
yeah, of course, that attempts have been made in the past, and then even after that first attempt that didn't work out very well, there's been lots of meetings because I'm close to all the presidential candidates. In fact, I spoke with them concerning this issue. So each and every one of them is the good news is that they are all um, they're all committed to seeing this happen. It's just that there are bottlenecks they have to walk around because they can't just make decisions on their own. They also have to carry their party members around. So what I'm trying to say is that the ultimate expectation is that all of them will come together and nominate one amongst them to represent all of the young candidates. Specifically, I can go ahead and mention here, we've been expecting this good news to come from an agreement between Professor Moghalu, Obia Ezekwesili, Fela Tayo, and then Omoyele Sowore. And this news today is just something in a very welcome direction.
But they almost had that before, but it didn't work out, the pact.
So that's what I'm saying. After that pact, there's been lots of talks.
Okay.
And this is a result of those talks.
Oh, this particular move by Obia Ezekwesili is as a result of those talks?
I can confidently tell you.
Oh, wonderful. Because, I mean, some persons would think that if she is stepping down to form a coalition, she would have done that even without being a presidential candidate of any political party.
No, that's not right. She's in her rights to do what she did. She's the presidential candidate of a registered political party, and all political parties are equal in the eyes of INEC. Okay, so she was running on her platform, and so when she decides to step down, she's just taking the lead. Let me tell you, she's been playing the role of like the motherly role to all these young contestants. She was the umpire during that pact meeting, and her taking this step is to further show that she's committed to playing that role. Whenever they meet, you'll see that. That's why I say we call her Auntie Obi. The way she carries herself, the way you see her contributing, you know that she's not in there to, like, it's not do or die for her. She means well, okay? And so I'm really not. It's a very welcome thing. I'm not very surprised, and like I said, there's going to be more good news in this direction.
Now, an action taken, it doesn't necessarily be just an action, because it could mean so many things to so many different persons.
Okay.
How do you think the female folks would react to this? Because, I mean, we've always said, women are going to have the opportunity, and for the very first time in a long while, we see somebody in her caliber trying to, come up and to vie for the office of the president. Do you think it's a big blow?
No.
Against the candidature of the women folk around? Because, I mean, if a woman sees her, standing down in different levels, some of them would think, oh, well, if somebody in that caliber would stand down, I could actually stand down too. You don't think that could actually have that kind of recurring effect?
No, I don't think so. In fact, her move, it's a big plus for women. I am married. I'm married to a very, very intelligent woman, and sometimes my wife takes a position that looks like could be interpreted as weakness, but at the end of it, you see a lot of wisdom in her position, and she gets the accolades at the end of the day. So women, it is a plus to women. Women see further than men, I can tell you. Women they see far into the future than men. So sometimes women sit back, and you must understand, women think about family. Women don't have too much of an issue with pride like men do. So a woman is able to look and say, you know what, my presidency is not as important as the future of the country. So for her to take this step is actually something commendable. It's not something for women to look at and feel, oh my goodness, this lady has let us down. It's something for them to be proud of, because men are stubborn, men are heady, men have a pride issue.
She's more like a symbol.
No,
that women look up to.
But politics is about reality. So why would you? Is it better for her to go into this knowing that, okay, I could just stick to my guns and say, oh no, I'm a woman candidate. It doesn't matter if my being there is going to divide our vote, than for her to say, you know what, from the indices on the ground, I think that if we make this move, it will be better for us, for our children. Women are always thinking about their children. So when she thinks this is a better move for us to make, but you know what? All these men that are in this thing with me, they're gonna be struggling with pride. So let me make the first move and show them the way. That's what I think she did, and women should be very proud of that. Because at the end of the day, what's important is a win-win for everybody, not you sticking to the guns and then taking a decision that jeopardizes the chances of everybody just because you want to prove a point. I mean, what if you are doing that and you prove a point that women can start can present a presidential candidacy and you lose the election immediately after February the 16th, everybody forgets about you.
Do you think a woman can lead this country better than what the men have done in the past?
I think anybody, whether a man or woman, it depends on the individual. You know, the fact that you're male or female doesn't actually automatically qualify you to be good or bad. I
No,
think
not good or bad.
no, no,
I'm just saying.
no. I'm saying a woman has equal opportunities, just like a man, to lead this country well. I don't want to say better because a bad woman will still perform badly, okay, and a bad man will still perform badly. So it doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to say, that because you're a woman doesn't automatically make you better than a man, and the fact that you're a man doesn't automatically make you better than a woman. It depends. It's very subjective. It depends on the individual.
All right. This is the Urban Parliament on Urban Radio 94.5. So let's talk about other issues.
Okay.
I mean, we've spoken about the breaking news. A whole lot of people have talked, have said things extensively about the umpire, INEC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any issues with INEC?
I don't want to be preemptive in whatever I'm saying. INEC has a job to do. We hope that they do their job. One thing I like about democracy is that there are institutions to to balance the system. So it is in their interest to perform the duties for which they have been constituted to perform.
Do you doubt them in any way? Because you
I
don't
don't
seem
have.
like you're confident in them.
I'm telling you the truth. Up until now, they have not done anything for me to doubt them. And I promise them that, and I speak on behalf of my party, the African Action Congress, we are well prepared to take them on if they step any inch away from what they are considered to do. So right now, they've conducted the uh, they've conducted their duties, you know, as it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but I mean, we've just been watching them. They've done their primaries. They've done the registration of voters. They've tried to make sure voters get their cards. I don't. In the area of voters, in the area of registration of voters, it's a lot of lapses in the area of voters collecting their. I mean, a situation where you have thousands of Nigerians, thousands. Let me talk about my own ward, Ozala here. We had 5,000 PVCs in a small ward of about 2,000 plus people. You had, I mean, sorry, in a small ward of about 3,000 people, you had 1,000 cards not collected. That is unacceptable. And my party had to go around mobilizing people, paying town criers, transporting people to come to the central school to collect their PVC. So in the area of distribution of those cards, I don't think they did very well. And so many other areas. But you know what? It's an ongoing thing. If they do well, we will applaud them. If they don't do well, we will use the apparatus of the law to ask them questions.
So your party never reacted to the new appointments given to Amina Zakaria as the head of Collation Center. Did you didn't see anything wrong with that? Because it was all over the place. The PDP especially was crying a whole lot about the fact that Amina Zakaria is related to the president in a way, and then she isn't supposed to be holding that particular sensitive position.
One thing that our party is not like, when if you see everything about our party, like our slogan, when we say AAC and we say take it back, and when you say take it back, we say action. We're about action. We're not about semantics. We're not about playing games. If you're playing games, we just keep watching you. We are busy campaigning. We are busy getting ready for the election. Pointing out the appointment of Zachary is like looking at you in your work clothes, painting, and I'm trying to point out a paint stain on your body. What use is that? You're already full of paint marks. I don't have to worry about that. I'll be worried when you turn around and you begin to use your paintbrush on me. So I'm just watching what you're doing. You get what I'm saying? We already have said that the system is in terms of appointments, several appointments, we know that it's warped, it's not properly done. So we don't want to begin to isolate and talk about it. We already know that it is not properly done. It's lopsided, it is not democratic, it does not represent the demography of Nigeria. So that's something we have talked over and over again. So the appointment of Zachary is just one amongst so many things. So we don't have to start wasting our time on complaining. Nigerians already know.
Right. There's a presidential candidate.
Yeah.
Do you think he has a capacity to rule Nigeria?
Talking about his capacity is an understatement. He's like a wild horse that needs to be tamed. That's actually what people complain about. He has the zeal, he has the motivation, he has the passion, he has the energy. So yes, he has more than is required to run.
Leading Nigeria is complex, I mean,
Leading,
it's not as easy as one would say.
We make leading Nigeria very complex. I mean, look around the world, see where the world is right now. The world is electing very young people, 37 years. Okay, let me tell you the truth. Why I know that it is people that make leading Nigeria very complex. When the old brigade, who own the big industries, who are the head of corporations, who are the head of leadership, when they need things to be done, when they're hiring people to deliver, they hire the young ones. When they need people to help them set up like this, your studio, they're not going to look for somebody who is about 60 years. They look for people who are 25, 28, 30. So all over the place, it is the young people who are driving this country. They are actually the leaders of this country. But when it comes to actually giving them that position, they pretend that they cannot lead. So who is fooling who? If Zuckerberg could come down to Nigeria looking for people to help him in Facebook, doesn't that tell you that Nigeria has something to offer? Don't you understand? So we have more than what it takes to run this country. This country is not complex. All you have to do is to do things right. But our people see what is to be done, but they pretend and they look the other way around. If you can pick any sector, and I tell you why it is not working. Because things are very, very easy. It is not rocket science. If you do the right thing and I do the right thing, things will work out well. I keep telling people, when we are telling you to give the young people a chance, and you're saying, no, we cannot run this country. How come when you're going to buy a car, you buy the 2018 version? How come when you're going to buy a phone, you buy iPhone? How come when you're going to buy a TV, you buy the flat screen TV? They all know how to use new things, new technology, new ideology. But when it comes to the young people, they tell them to go and belong to the people of their parties. So it's just like your father telling you, what I mean? We know
you mentioned countries that voting young persons around the world, but the complexities there, the issues there are different here. I mean, you don't equate their democracy with the one that we have here. Our democracy is just 20 years old.
So can I explain? Can I explain to you? These countries are actually more complex than Nigeria. Very much complex.
Those
countries are more complex. For instance, I was telling somebody, I also reside in Canada, and some time ago I was discussing with somebody, and he was visiting. So he was saying, the good thing about this place is that, the disease here is not like in Africa. The disease here is maybe he thinks that because it's Canada, the disease is different. So I told him, no, you're actually wrong. Because I think he dropped something, and I was trying to tell him, "Hey guys, be careful, don't touch things anyhow in a public space." I was saying, "No, no, this is abroad now. It's not like Nigeria that there's disease everywhere." I told him, "Listen, in Nigeria, you have a close knit community, like in Enugu now. You can imagine it's usually the same people that go around Enugu over over a certain period of time, right?
Right.
But in those countries where you have people coming into that country from all over the world, you would have like 1,000 strands of the same virus coming from all over the place. So if they were going to attack a virus in that country, you see how complex it is for them. But if we were going to do it in a place like Enugu, we'll probably have like 3-4 strands going around. You don't want to talk about their transportation system. You don't want to talk about how many buses. Do you know the buses? If a bus is late, it is late in seconds. It is that close. And you're going to have a bus carrying people along maybe a 2 kilometer space, like maybe a stretch of road that is 2 kilometers. Within 10 minutes, buses arrive every 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Now, calculate how many buses will go through that place. Then calculate how many buses will run through that place in the 24 hours they have to do in a day. So these countries are very complex. We are not that complex. What's the population of the State? What is it that you want to do that we cannot do? We just like to make things very, very complex. But as we go along, as we discuss, we'll be able to open up and see why this country is not complex.
All right. Let's go on a short break. We'll be back with more of the discussion. This time around, we'll probably narrow it down to Enugu State. So stay with us.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back. This is the Urban Parliament, and we've been speaking with Dr. Chidi Cadet Nwachukwu. Nwanyanwu, rather. Is the governorship candidate for the African Action Congress. So let's come down to your candidacy. I mean, you are an indigenous of this state.
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm from Omwane village of Ozala, Kano West local government area.
Kano West. Okay. So why do you want to become the governor of Enugu State?
I want to become the governor of Enugu State because growing up in Enugu, I know what Enugu State used to be. And I look at Enugu State right now and I see that we are falling from our glory. We are not where we've been left behind by so many states that we used to lead. So I just thought there's a need for someone to come into the scene and clean up things and then bring us back to where we should be and then begin to reposition us for the future. That's why my slogan is "Let's make Enugu State great again." I mean, Enugu State, when we're growing up, used to be the place that produced people like like the music industry. For instance, you had Sonny Okosun from here, Onyeka Onwenu, Felix Liberty, Jidobi, all of those guys. They all came out of Enugu State, you know. So that's why recently Enugu State, I saw that we took 9th position in the SSE. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. So that's why I felt there's reason for me to actually be part of the race. And let me just tell you, when I left Enugu for Abuja and then from Abuja to Canada, as soon as I got there, I wanted to be part of what was going on. I never really left Enugu State. That's what I keep telling myself. Because when I went when I was in Canada, barely a year later, I became the president of the Enugu State Association there in Canada. And what I did immediately was to organize a trade summit where I related with the then governor of Enugu State, Governor Sullivan Chime, and he sent 3 commissioners to Toronto, and we exposed them to business opportunities. Actually, what we wanted to do was to see a way of attracting businesses to Enugu. So even while I was there, I was thinking about Enugu State. I went on to become the president of the Nigerian community in Canada, and there too, I kept fighting to see what I could do for my state. I also had an NGO my Root Foundation, and through my Root Foundation, I was able to try to see what I could do in Nigeria, and I did some medical missions in my own local government area, and in other places we tried to do some scholarship things for people. But then, just recently, like 2 years ago, I led a mission of Canadian officials, including a member of parliament, and we toured several states here in Nigeria. I tried to bring them to Enugu, but for certain reasons it didn't work out. But we were able to go to Anambra State, we went to Lagos State, and we went to other places, and that has materialized in some trade agreements between those states and the country of Canada. So it's always been a passion for me to try to bring my state to a very enviable position. So I just doing that from the diaspora would always make people say, you know, you people always stay over there and talk. If you're serious, why don't you come down here and be part of changing the system? So that's why I decided to join the African Action Congress and then come down to Nigeria and be part of what is going on.
All right. So, what specifically would you be doing for the people of Enugu State?
Thank you very much. My mission for the people of Enugu State, what I plan to do for the people of Enugu State is captured in my manifesto, which I represent with the acronym MEGA. I have a mega vision for Enugu State, and this mega vision is what we also use as a mantra: make Enugu great again. Now, it is called out of the big manifesto of the African Action Congress, which is represented by Spicer Heat. Now, people can go to www.aacparty.com, www.aacparty.com, and under there you can see the full manifesto of our party. But for Enugu State, if we take these letters one after the other, under M, our priority is to make multiply agriculture and jobs in Enugu State, because the biggest thing I see here is that Enugu State, with its fertile land, with good weather and everything, is not able to feed itself. If you go down to Akwata in the morning, you will see tons and tons of trailers that carry food from northern Nigeria, where they don't even have good soil and climate, bringing it down to us here. It is not acceptable to me. It should be the other way around. We should be the ones exporting food to other states and also to countries outside the world. So we are going to embark on massive, large-scale mechanized farming, and this has a lot of multiplier effect, because when we do that, we'll be able to provide jobs for the teeming young people. Young people don't have jobs. They roam the streets of Enugu, and that is something that is really, really painful to me. I am passionate about providing jobs for them. But it's not just talk. Agriculture is going to be the vehicle we're going to use to provide these jobs, because when we embark on massive food production, there's going to be tons of businesses that will come out of it. There's going to be haulage, there's going to be storage, there's going to be production of processing of food coming out of that. So there will be lots of jobs for young people. Now, so it's tied to jobs. The letter E is where we say that we will enhance the economy of Enugu State and the education of Enugu State. You're going to ask, how am I going to do this? Let me give you a case in point. People, businesses travel from northern Nigeria and they go to shop at Onitsha. They pass through 9 Mile. They go to shop at Onitsha and Lagos. They pass through 9 Mile. They pass through 9 Mile to go to shop at Aba, Owerri, and Port Harcourt. All they do in Enugu State is they pack their trailers, and in the morning they leave. The only money they spend is the money that they used to buy one or two things, and they render our girls useless in that area. But what we plan to do is to build a mega market at 9 Mile. That mega market will make sure that those monies that these people travel past Enugu to go and spend in other places, they will spend it right in Enugu. There's no need for them to travel to Onitsha and Port Harcourt and Aba if they can get what they want in Enugu. So that's what we're going to do. And then the international airport, we're going to make that airport trade and areas, the M&A zone, we're going to make it trade-free zone, a tax-free zone, so that when people import things from, we'll expand the cargo wing, so that when people import things from Dubai, most people use Enugu Airport in the east before they even started building their own airports. When they import things from Dubai, they don't have to even go anywhere else. They will sell it right in MNN, enter the plane, and go back because there will be no taxes on what they bring. And you know what that will do to the economy of Enugu State and even around the MNN. MNN or MNN will be transformed into an international market. So that's other things that what we'll do is we will establish these things and they will have a catalyst effect. And between by second or third year of our existence, we would have seen a clear manifestation of these things that we have put on ground. Now, for the letter G, I'll quickly run through that. We will have a great Enugu health insurance scheme. I've lived in places where I've seen this work and I know it is possible. Bottom line is you'll be able to walk into any hospital and get treated for free without having to spend any money because the government would have taken care of the doctors and all the staff in the medical field. That's what we're going to do. Now, we're going to have health insurance for everybody, starting from the elderly, the children, and the women, and then the men. Finally, under A, we're going to bring about advanced world-class infrastructure. When I talk about world-class infrastructure, I am an authority, and this is without apology. I am a trained architect. I have a construction company. I've practiced here in Nigeria. I practice in every continent in the world. Right now, I have a construction company in Canada, but I do jobs also here in Nigeria. Every year, I come back to Nigeria, and I know what infrastructure is. I have seen and whenever you talk about infrastructure, people just think about roads, and infrastructure is beyond just roads. Infrastructure is transportation. So we're going to embark on mass transportation. Enugu State is so small for us to be having traffic jams. Look at what happens around our Holy Ghost. Look at what happens around Obete. It's not supposed to be. The monorail project that was abandoned. I don't see why you would abandon something like that in 2018. So I will commit to make sure that that monorail project will run from Gariki all the way to Obete. Actually, the guy who was supposed to do that monorail project, Igwemezie, is a friend of mine. He has an office in Canada. I actually worked a little bit on that project. So it's a project that I know about and I know it is doable. I wonder why the state didn't do that. You can imagine if we had that monorail project, it will really, really help with easing transportation in Enugu State. But not just that, we will have mass transit through buses, provision of buses to all the local government areas. We will make sure that even Keke Napep will participate in that, and we will bring IT into these things. In 2018, everybody has cell phones. People use Uber. We are going to not just do Uber with cars. We're going to come down to Keke Napep. It's going to be possible for you to enter Keke Napep and pay through your phone. Even Okada inside the village, because there are places where Keke Napep does not apply. Those routes where Okada people apply, we'll be able to make sure that in those places that people even use their phones to make payments to operate an Uber kind of app. So this, in a nutshell, are things that I plan to bring into Enugu State to revolutionize Enugu State and make Enugu State great again.
Indeed. So, what about employment? We didn't hear anything about employment. Maybe on agricultural.
No, that's what I said. Jobs. When I talked about jobs, you see, the thing there is, this is not, we don't have enough time to expand my manifesto. But when we're talking about providing jobs, a lot of politicians just come and say it as a cliche. You're just going to provide jobs, But what is the process that you're going to use to provide these jobs? Well, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. That's why I said we are starting with agriculture. Enugu State has so much fertile land that all you need to do is if you drop maize anywhere in Enugu State, it will grow. So that's a technology that we don't even need to crack our heads so much. We are going to start with agriculture. That's something that is readily available. When we embark on this mega agricultural program, we will have so much jobs to absorb the unemployed in Enugu, and people will even come from outside to be able to participate in whatever we're doing. But let me also tell you plans I have. When your car breaks down, you go to coal camp. Coal camp has been coal camp for so many years, and it's amazing that no government has thought about developing that place. You have the best engineering brains in coal camp. At coal camp, they would fabricate any part of any car from scratch, from a piece. They will cut the metal, and they will. When I was living in Enugu, when I was a student of University of Nigeria Enugu campus, I used to drive one rickety car, as a student. So it used to break down all the time. I had this problem with my disc, clutch disc. And when they told me the price, I couldn't pay. But they told me, come, come, come. They said, please, they do it. I was amazed. They cut a piece of metal from raw iron, and they put the holes on it. They manufactured the disc right there in coal camp. So what we will do is that we will go and harness that technology, help them to become more productive, and other people will come from other places to come and buy from us. That will provide a lot of employment for young people, because when you go to coal camp, it's young people that do all those things. When you go to Ogbete, you go on that rail line, you see all these guys that fix phones and fix computers. Those guys are geniuses. They will crack any code. They are IT wizards. So we are going to make sure that we take those guys, that we improve on what they're doing. We help them with loans and make sure that their business is expanded to something that is revenue yielding more than because they are smart, but they're not making enough money. All our young people, a lot of them are talented in music. We're going to develop. There's this show that they used to do every Christmas. I don't know why they stopped doing that show when Flavor and all these people will come.
As block.
Yeah. Why did they stop? Why did they stop? That kind of program, and look at all of those stars, all of the major stars now, they come out of Enugu. Look at Flavor, look at Fino, look at all of them. This Yori guy, and all of them came out of bracket, and all of them came out of Enugu State. So we are going to make sure that program, that musical program is brought back. So you see, there's so many things that we can do to provide employment for our young people in Enugu State.
Do you believe in equity and fair play?
I do believe in equity and fair play. That's why I do. Okay, go on.
Yeah, the reason why I ask that is because Enugu North will say that it's their turn.
Okay.
So you coming in from Nkano,
yeah,
you would destroy the plan.
Okay. So let me tell you why.
It's not written, but
I know. Yeah. What we're doing is we're disrupting the system. That's what we're doing by coming in.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Disrupt it?
Let me tell you what is unfair. What is unfair is that whichever zone gets the governorship, they isolate every other zone. So if there's something that is needed in a zone that is really, really needed, they will not care about that place. So for instance, if somebody from Enugu, from Enugu East, for instance, becomes the governor, he focuses only on that side. And then the people of Enugu North, they keep them isolated. They don't give them appointments. They don't develop their area, and they have to wait 8 years. Not even 8 years. They have to wait 16 years before. Actually, they have to wait 24 years before it comes to their turn. That is not fairness. Fairness is that whichever area of Enugu State that the governor comes from, whenever the allocation for Enugu State comes, it is distributed equally to every part of Enugu State. And we will prioritize where we spend our money. If our greatest need is to fix our erosion problem, and that erosion is happening in Nsukka, we should fix that erosion menace in Nsukka. We should not say that until an Nsukka man becomes the governor before we do that. And you see, in fairness to people, that's why whenever anybody comes from the other area, he tries to, because he has been marginalized by the past government, so he tries to take care of his people. And when he does that, the other people are waiting for their turn. When it's their turn, they will marginalize the other people. When is it going to stop? It will stop when, and let me tell you something also. That system, Enugu State did not sit together and decide that this is a system that was decided by a party. So it is the business of that party. How they want to do their zoning is their business. But the Enugu State people, I talk on behalf of Enugu State people, anybody from any part of Enugu State deserves a chance to be the governor of Enugu State. As long as you are, and the constitution of Enugu State does not even say that it is zoned. So let us work by the constitution of Enugu State.
No, it's that's why I said it's unwritten, but
Exactly.
it's just you're playing on the sentiment of people,
But has it so tell me, is it fair? Is it fair that if something needs to be done in my area, if there is a need in my area, I am denied that need because my brother is not the governor of that state?
Successive governments will tell you that they did not marginalize any part, that
No, but
the government was actually distributed across board, even though there have been complaints, but they claim that it's false, that even appointment is actually evenly distributed.
That's why we say that governing Nigeria is difficult, because we look at something that is red and we say it's blue. you're just using semantics now. Anybody that comes faces their area. I'm telling you the truth. Any governor that comes just faces their area, because he knows that by the time I actually pity the people in leadership, because the governor is under a lot of pressure. Because when he finishes and steps down, the first people that will accuse him is his people. In fact, other people will turn around and say, what did you do for your own people? So he has to make an effort to make sure that his people is treated better than the other people. Don't you see? There's already an imbalance in that. And the governor comes with very good intentions, but he cannot even do what is right. He looks right before him are 3 cases on his table. And the most pressing need, the most pressing one, the one that they should put more money in, is from the area that is not his own area. But he has to abide by that unwritten agreement, and he will turn a blind eye to the place that needs to be attended to, and he will turn and face his area, just so that his people will say, yes, you did it right. Because when the other person was the governor, he did for their own people. So if we don't stop it right now, we are toying with the future of our generation.
Right. This is Urban Parliament. You can join in on the conversation. You can call in on this number 08093 999 945. You can also call 08099 945 945. Chief, yeah, please turn down the audio on the radio.
Good morning. Hello.
Chief.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome. Go ahead.
My name is Chief Aya.
Oh wow!
I was going to stop the studio, but it's too late. Thank you for your engagement.
Good morning, Uncle. Good morning, Uncle. I know you, sir. Good morning, Uncle.
I like what you say. Nigeria is full of very innovative young people, and they are beginning to do what we had wanted them to do. When I watched Ezekwesili and Moralo and the other man, I thought that they should have stepped up and taken over the major parties. Because Nigeria has a psyche. Whether you like it or not, the major parties in this election is APC, PDP. In spite of all the good things the younger people are saying, they are there to be take over these parties instead of being youth weak, take them over, and you have. Thank you very much. But one thing I want to say, what you just said last, I am an old man, I'm 80 years, and I've gone through. Chief Aroke was governor of this state. I left a delegation to him with a personnel from Osuka. That is Enugu North Territorial Zone. There's everything that is from Osuka. 15 years, the DDP in Enugu State neglected that area called Osuka.
You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
This governor, and that is my point, I mean, this governor came, I said in their program, that if I were this governor, I would look at the Enugu zone at all. I would face my area.
You see?
But this governor, everything that happens in one local government happens in another 17 local government. That's the lesson this young man is trying to teach us. I believe that perhaps if you face your area, if we have patience, I told Jim Aroka, I said, fine. You've done that one into London. I hope when it is my time, you won't forget it. Because that's where the problem lies. If we are patient, if that is a policy and we write it down,
Bless you, sir.
Do you agree with what?
No, I don't agree with what he says.
Okay, let's take this call. Hello. Good morning.
He's faint. I can't hear him very well.
Okay. Walter, go ahead, please. All right, thank you so much. Want to answer that?
Okay. What about the one we talk about the former one?
The first one.
Okay. Thank you so much, Adanduka. Yeah, these are one of the names we respected growing up, and it's a privilege to have him call into the studio. One, from what he was saying, you could hear him contradicting himself. Okay, on one side he says it is very, very important that we give everybody a chance, and then he also mentioned how he approached the former governor and told him how his state was being marginalized. That's exactly what I was trying to tell you, that these things are clear, that people are sectional when they get into power, and when people get sectional, the other people feel marginalized, and so they wait for their turn. That in itself is not a system where you have equality. That's not democratic. So what we should be thinking about is, how do we break that cycle? That cycle is not good. It is not, yes, it's unwritten, people adopt it, but it is not good. So we should be tending towards sitting together and finding a way to do things the right way. I don't want to discuss further on that because he talked on both sides, and anybody who is intelligent enough can read in between the lines. Good thing he said is that we, the young ones, are doing what he expected us to do. So thank you so much, sir. We will continue to push until we get what we want. And he says that he expects us to take the power back, and that's why the slogan of our party is "Take It Back." So we're in the right direction. Now, for the other last caller, that's exactly what we're doing. That's why you're listening to me talking on the radio. I am trying to tell you what our manifesto is, and I here talked about how we're going to bring about development, how we're going to bring about employment. Like I said, as we discuss further, we'll be able to expand on how we plan to do this. And in 2018, what we do is we send people to our website where you are able to see documents. We are able to see facts and figures about how we plan to implement our programs. You can find it on www.aacparty.com. And here I talked about how we will use agriculture to try to bring about development and employment in Enugu State. I also talked about how we plan to bring about world-class infrastructure. I talked about the monorail. I talked about even road construction that is being done here. I don't want to go into that, but you could imagine if the roads are really well done, how come every 1 or 2 years we have to go back and repair these roads? So that tells you maybe there is more that is there's more to it than we see. If the roads are properly done, some roads should last for a minimum of about 10 years. Go to some of the old roads that were built before the war. They are still, the tires on them are still there, as old as those roads are. How come? It is because of, and they were built with technology that is not even as sophisticated as what we have now. So these are some of the things we've been telling you, and there's room for us to discuss more. So we're actually doing what he has said that we should be doing.
Right. Dr. Chidi, Cadet, I'm sure
Yes,
that you'd have to also find time maybe before the elections proper to come through again for a robust more elaborate, discussion on your candidacy and of course what you plan to do, and of course people will have opportunity to ask you direct questions.
For sure.
Right.
We're also going around. We're doing our mop-up campaign, our last phase of campaign before the elections. We are touring the 17 local government areas to meet with people directly in the wards and in the grassroots and engage with them. We've been doing a lot of that, but we plan to do more of that. We're also attending town hall meetings, and we're going to be participating in several debates. So all that we're doing to create awareness about what we plan to do. But we're confident that, and you heard what he has said. I said that before. Elder Aya talked about the young parties coming together, and everybody knows it. The thing that gladdens my heart is that everybody knows as soon as that signage is achieved, as soon as that coalition is achieved, this game is a game changer. It's done. Because a lot of people who are voting for the two big parties, they always tell me that they are voting between the devil and the deep blue sea. That shows me that once you provide them with an alternative that is not devilish or demonic, because right now, once you provide them with that alternative that is not demonic or devilish, they are going to take it. And that is the alternative. They're actually waiting with their PVC card. And as soon as they see that coalition, they are just going to turn around and vote for these young people. Right. Because people are 70 years, 80 years. Our elder is a retired, he's an old war horse. He sits down and he advises and he leads delegations. Why is he not running for the governorship of Enugu State? Even though he has all the knowledge and all the skills and all the experience. But he has taken a very honorable position. And that is what people should do. And we expect that to be done at the national level. But if they don't do it, we will take the power back from them.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Chidi Cadet Wanyao, the governorship candidate for the African Action Congress.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Charles.
Wish you all the best. The Urban Breakfast continues with Adobe. Charles is my name. Have yourselves a good morning. So you can complete.
So what do you think?
You don't make a lucky better. If you're ready to jump from a game, they say make you take your 2 legs.